In today's episode, we're diving deep into a machine that feels like it ripped straight out of the golden age of American muscle and stormed into 2025 with an attitude problem. This is the midnight black Plymouth Barracuda, widebody retro muscle beast. A car that doesn't whisper nostalgia, it roars it. And if you love old school muscle blended with modern performance engineering, this one is going to hit you right in the chest. The Plymouth Barracuda name carries serious weight in American automotive history. Originally introduced by Plymouth back in 1964, the Barracuda quickly became one of the most iconic muscle cars of its era. By 1970, it evolved into the legendary E-body Cuda, battling it out with the Mustang and Camaro on the streets and strips of America. Now in 2025, the reborn midnight black Barracuda pays tribute to that heritage, but with wide-body aggression, modern suspension, and monstrous horsepower that the original engineers could only dream about. Let's start with the exterior, because one glance at this car and you already know it's not stock, not subtle, and definitely not built for blending in. Finished in a deep metallic midnight black paint, the body looks like liquid darkness under city lights. It's the kind of black that absorbs reflections during the day and explodes into gloss under neon at night. The wide-body kit completely transforms the stance. Massive extended fender flares stretch over deep dish wheels, giving the Barracuda a planted, predatory posture. The arches are sculpted cleanly into the body, not just bolted on aggression, but integrated muscle. Up front, you get a modern reinterpretation of the classic Barracuda grille. It retains that rectangular heritage shape but sharpens it with blacked-out mesh and subtle LED lighting integrated into the housing. The headlights are round, a clear nod to the 1970 model, but now feature projector LEDs with halo daytime running lights. They glow with a cold white intensity that contrasts perfectly against the black paint. The hood is pure drama. A functional dual snorkel scoop rises from the center, channeling air directly into the engine bay. Heat extractors are positioned toward the rear of the hood, hinting at the firepower underneath. From the side profile, the long hood and short deck proportions remain faithful to classic muscle design. That's the magic of this build, it doesn't erase history, it enhances it. The wheels deserve their own spotlight. Massive forged alloys, typically 20 inches in the front and 21 inches in the rear, wrapped in ultra-wide performance tires. The deep lip design emphasizes the wide-body stance, while behind them sit enormous Brembo performance brakes with drilled and slotted rotors. Red or black calipers peek through, depending on spec, adding a subtle performance accent. Moving to the rear, this is where the car looks absolutely menacing. A modern LED light bar stretches across the back, inspired by classic horizontal taillight designs but executed with contemporary precision. The rear bumper integrates an aggressive diffuser, and quad exhaust tips sit wide and proud. When this car starts up, those pipes don't just make noise, they declare war. The stance is low, thanks to a performance-tuned adaptive suspension system. Some builds feature air suspension for adjustable ride height, allowing the Barracuda to sit slammed at shows and raise itself for practical driving. Either way, the road presence is undeniable. Park it anywhere, and it becomes the center of attention within seconds. Now let's talk about the heart of the beast, the engine. Under that sculpted hood sits a supercharged 6.2-liter HEMI V8. Yes, we're talking modern muscle engineering inspired by the powerhouse engines seen in vehicles from Dodge's high-performance lineup. This particular setup pushes anywhere between 707 horsepower and 900 horsepower depending on tuning. Some extreme builds even cross the 1000 horsepower mark with upgraded internals and pulley systems. The sound is thunderous. At idle, the engine has that deep, uneven V8 rumble that vibrates through your chest. Tap the throttle and the supercharger whine layers over the exhaust growl like mechanical symphony. Under full acceleration, it's violent in the best possible way. 0 to 60 happens in the low 3-second range with proper traction. Quarter-mile times dip into the high 10s or even 9s for heavily modified versions. Power is typically sent to the rear wheels through either a 6-speed manual transmission for purists or an 8-speed automatic for maximum performance consistency. The automatic version delivers brutally quick shifts, snapping through gears without hesitation. Launch control systems help manage all that torque, but let's be honest, this car still demands respect. It's not a beginner's toy. Handling has also been brought into the modern era. Unlike the original Barracudas that were built more for straight-line dominance, the 2025 widebody version benefits from upgraded coilovers, reinforced chassis components, and performance sway bars. Steering is sharper, body roll is reduced, and high-speed stability is significantly improved. It still feels raw, still feels analog in spirit, but with the control of a contemporary performance car. Braking performance is equally impressive. Massive multi-piston calipers clamp down hard, bringing this heavy muscle machine to a confident stop. Fade resistance is dramatically improved compared to vintage models, making it capable of spirited driving without feeling outdated. Now let's step inside, because the interior blends retro styling with modern comfort in a way that feels purposeful rather than gimmicky. Open the heavy driver's door and you are greeted by a cabin wrapped in black leather and Alcantara. Red or silver contrast stitching traces the seats and dashboard, depending on configuration. The seats themselves are heavily bolstered sport buckets, offering proper support during aggressive driving. Some builds even feature embroidered Barracuda logos stitched into the headrests. The dashboard layout keeps a classic dual-dial cluster design but integrates a fully digital display within retro-styled housings. It's the perfect mix of old and new, analog aesthetics with modern information. You get performance telemetry, boost gauges, G-force meters, and customizable layouts. The steering wheel is thick, flat-bottomed, and wrapped in premium materials. Paddle shifters sit behind it if equipped with the automatic transmission. The center console houses a large touchscreen infotainment system compatible with modern smartphone connectivity. Premium sound systems are often included, but honestly, most drivers will prefer listening to the exhaust note instead. Despite its aggressive personality, the interior remains surprisingly comfortable. Dual-zone climate control, heated and ventilated seats, and ambient lighting bring a touch of luxury to the muscle formula. Rear seats are more symbolic than spacious, staying true to the coupe heritage. In terms of practicality, this isn't a daily grocery getter for most owners. Fuel economy isn't exactly the selling point here. Expect low double-digit MPG figures when driving enthusiastically. But nobody buys a 900 horsepower retro muscle beast for fuel savings. Now let's talk pricing. Because this is not a mass production vehicle in the traditional sense, pricing varies heavily based on build quality, engine specification, and customization level. A well-executed widebody Barracuda rest-armored build-in 2025 typically starts around $120,000. Higher-end builds with extreme horsepower figures, custom interiors, and show-quality paint can climb to $200,000 or more. For collectors, exclusivity is part of the appeal. These aren't factory-line vehicles rolling out in the thousands. Many are custom-built or limited production revival concepts inspired by the original Plymouth design language. That rarity adds to the value and desirability. Compared to modern muscle cars from brands like Ford Motor Company or Chevrolet, the Barracuda stands out because it doesn't feel corporate. It feels rebellious. It feels handcrafted. It feels like a tribute to an era when muscle cars were loud, unapologetic, and built to dominate the street. Driving this car is an event. The visibility over the long hood reminds you of classic American coupes. The steering feels weighty. The throttle response is immediate and slightly intimidating. It demands your full attention, and in return, it delivers one of the most engaging driving experiences you can get in 2025. This midnight black widebody Barracuda isn't just about speed. It's about presence. It's about heritage. It's about standing out in a world increasingly filled with silent electric vehicles. It celebrates combustion, mechanical drama, and visual aggression. When parked under city lights at night, the gloss black paint reflects skyscrapers and street lamps like a mirror. The wide stance casts a shadow that looks almost unreal. People gather around it, phones come out, and conversations start instantly. It's that kind of car. At the end of the day, the 2025 Midnight Black Plymouth Barracuda Widebody is a love letter to classic American muscle, but rewritten with modern horsepower and technology. It bridges decades of performance evolution while keeping the soul intact. If you crave raw V8 thunder, retro styling with contemporary engineering, and a car that turns every drive into a cinematic moment, this Barracuda delivers in every possible way. This isn't just transportation. It's mechanical art. It's rebellion on four wheels. It's the return of a legend, darker, wider, and more powerful than ever. Fire checkered flag.